Thank you for joining us, Dr. Mildner, at the Gateway of India Geoeconomic Dialogue 2017. It's a pleasure having you here. My first question is, how do you think G20 countries can collaborate to ensure greater participation of all businesses, including small and medium enterprises, in global value chains?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's really a great experience and a great conference. It's an excellent job you have done. With regard to how can we make trade more beneficial, I want to underline that trade has been beneficial, very beneficial in the past, but it can be made even more beneficial by making it more inclusive. And one thing we have to look at and ask and deal with is how to integrate SMEs, small medium enterprises, more into global value chains. And what we can do, for example, is building up capacity and helping them understand what hurdles they have to tackle, what non-tariff barriers they have to deal with. So increase the understanding of global markets. The second thing what we need to do is we have to address digital trade, e-commerce, because that's a really great opportunity for them to participate in global value chains. And for this, we need to build up the digital infrastructure, also in rural areas, to give SMEs access to the digital economy. But we also have to build up digital literacy, because it's not always easy to participate in digital trade and also understand the rules there. So it comes back to capacity building also with regard to e-commerce and digital trade.
Right, that's an interesting perspective. And another sort of obstacle we see today to international trade is the reluctance, as we saw especially in 2016 in some countries, to allow the freedom of movement of labor. For a lot of developing countries, this is a concern going forward. How do you see this playing out in the future? How do you see these concerns being addressed?
Labor mobility is not just a concern for developing countries. Labor mobility is important for any economy, also for the industrial world. Trade is not just about shipping goods from one country to another anymore. It involves very complex value chains, and that also includes services. If For example, one of our companies, Siemens, is exporting a wind turbine to another country. They also have to do maintenance. And for this, if the wind turbine breaks down or has a problem, they need to send somebody over to fix it. So we need temporary mobility of labor, and it is important to keep markets open. And we, the business community, view with great worry the developments currently in the US, but also in other countries. In the B20, we have discussed that issue, and what we are proposing is a G20 business mobility card, which would allow permanent mobility, for example, for maintenance, and would make it easier and quicker to get visa and also to cross borders.
Interesting that you bring up the B20. Could you talk to us a little bit more about what the Business 20's objectives and sort of founding principles and goals are, what it wants to achieve?
The B20 is one of the official engagement groups of the G20, next to the T20 for think tanks, or also the Labor 20 for labor, for the unions. Our membership has more than 700 business and association representatives, and we are working jointly and on a consensus principle towards one goal. And the goal is building up resilience, being responsible, and being responsive to build up a global economy which is more future-oriented and more sustainable. And for this, we have different task forces. We work on trade and investment. We work on energy, climate, and resource efficiency. We work on financing growth and infrastructure, responsible business conduct, anti-corruption, employment and education, and many other topics. And we want to contribute to a successful German G20 presidency.
And my last question comes to the German G20 presidency and what legacy you think Germany will leave on the G20 going into 2018?
Um, the German G20 presidency said it's, unlike other presidencies, did not set any quantitative goals for economic growth, for example. Rather, what it wants to achieve is making the global economy more sustainable and more future-oriented. So there are three different pillars for the German G20 presidency, which is resilience, which is responsibility, and future orientation. And just to give a couple of examples, the German G20 placed firmly and squarely climate and the energy transition onto the agenda, but also health issues and also the sustainable development goals. And what is one of the overarching goals is making the global economy more inclusive. And I think this is the footprint our government, but also what the B20 wants to leave this year, a more inclusive global economy.
Thank you, Dr. Mildner, for your interesting and insightful comments, and we look forward to having you for the rest of the conference.
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you, and I'm looking forward to more cooperation.